It was a pure coincidence and good luck we found Tatzu Nishi. Some years previously, Naomi and I were at the Basel Art Fair visiting a Spanish art dealer based in Berlin who represented Gregor Schneider, with whom we did a project. And this dealer showed me photographs of what he said an interesting artist, very, very different, Japanese, but living in Berlin, who you might consider for a project. And I looked at the photographs, and he did really interesting interventions in cathedrals, on street lights, on statues, and it sort of stuck in my mind. When the art gallery offered to do an exhibition for our 40th anniversary, I thought he could be an interesting artist to do a project with, because I didn't want the exhibition just to be a retrospective. I also wanted to do something that's forward-looking. So we invited Tatsu to come to Australia. Well, that presented a few difficulties, because his Japanese was fluent, his German very halting, and his English almost non-existent. Now, Bettina, my daughter, speaks fluent Japanese, and I have a reasonable knowledge of German. So in the end, I got Bettina to get involved in the project, and that's how really she started to become part of art projects. So on Tatsu's visit, he came up with lots of ideas to transform churches, monuments around the city, but his best idea was to camouflage, to do some work on the two large statues in front of the art gallery by Gilbert Bayes, the Offering of War and the Offering of Peace, which have been there since 1923, and everybody just walks past it. They take it for granted. So he came up with the idea to build temporary rooms around them, to encase them, and these rooms were accessible through a ramp. It took a few weeks to build these temporary structures, and people didn't know what was happening. But in actual fact, the Offerings of War became a bedroom on which the big bronze horse and warrior stood in the middle of the bed, and the other room became a living room where just the warrior's head was sticking through a coffee table, and the horse's head was half hidden in a cabinet. Quite out of the ordinary. People flocked there. We had to have queues and entrance, and it was a remarkable success, because Tatsu went to a great deal of trouble and gave Bettina a lot of headaches, because he wanted to find the right wallpaper, the right bedspreads. We had to find books for the living room, fresh newspapers every day so that it looked real. It became quite a sensation. People ask me, how did we reinforce the beds that the horse could stand on it? They failed to work it out that the beds were done around the horse, and the horse didn't, of course, stand on the beds. It was the longest running project we ever had. It went on for 3 months to coincide with the exhibition inside the gallery of our 40th anniversary. We had some outside help from Alison Guthrie, who been following our projects, and what's remarkable and beautiful in a way, the builder who was in charge of it stayed in touch with us. And when we had our 50th anniversary, he became part of a performance where he performed his role as a builder for one of our projects. Tatsu came back a couple of years ago for the Adelaide Festival, where he recreated a dollhouse, which he originally did for Paris, and it was a great success.